Okay, we're up to Nun Amid Beis. We're a few lines up from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 lines up from the bottom. Amrav Yehuda Amarav. Now, to be Chayiv Skila for Avodah Zorah, for serving the Avodah Zorah, it has to be in one of two ways. Either it's Darkei Bekach. In other words, you defecate in front of Pa'ar, you throw rocks in front of Makulis. If you throw rocks in front of Pa'ar or defecate in front of Markulis, you would not be chayiv, because that's not ein darkei bekach. Or you do one of the avodas that was done lifnim in the Beis Hamikdash, Svicha, Haktara, Zrika. Then even if it's not darkei bekach, again, you're going to go ahead and shecht an animal to Markulis, that's not darkei bekach, because you're not throwing stones. The answer is, since it's avoid in the Beis Hamikdash, should be chayiv. Okay, with that hakdama, let's begin. Amrav Yehuda Amarav. Avodas kichavim she'oivdan oisab b'mako. You go ahead and you serve it with a stick. Rashi says you would shake it a stick. This is you go in front of the avodah zarah, you shake a stick, right? I guess different strokes for different folks, right? You go ahead and you shake a stick. Now, what happens? Shiver makol b'faneha. If you break the makol in front of it, chayiv. Zorik makol b'faneha pater. Now, Rashi says that by breaking the makol, it's the same thing as shchita, breaking the neck. In other words, even though shaking the makol is the avodah, breaking the makol is not the avodah. You'll be chayav over here because of the avodah lifnim part, right? In other words, it's daim to the Beis Hamikdash, the ladder in the hakdama. The case of you're going to go ahead and break its neck, you break the stick, so you be chayav for that. That's the avodah. You be chayav misa and skila. Again, if you're a Jew, if you're a guy, chayav sayif. But the component is the fact that a shaykh is tamako. And the fact that you're doing an avodah, memela what you're going to be chayiv. However, if you throw the makal, you'll be potter. Now, obviously, you're all asking, but zrika is also an avodah. You should be chayiv for zrika as well. Let's see. Says the Gemara, Amalei Abai l'Rava, Ma'ishna shiver dahavile kein zrika, zarek nami havile kein zrika. So Amalei, Rava told Abaya, Ba'ina zrika mishtaberes v'leka. You need a zrika that's broken up and you don't have it. Picture this, guys. When you throw blood in the Beis Hamikdash, you don't have one connected piece of blood going on there. You have tipa shaldam, right? By the fact that it's a liquid, it breaks up into different pieces. But the makal doesn't break up the different pieces. So albeit you're doing a verb of zrika, it's not doimet to the Beis Hamikdash. The Beis Hamikdash, it was different pieces. Mishtaberes, from Lashon broken. Mashen came to makal not. However, breaking the stick is the same thing as what? Shchita, where you're breaking. Where shchita is you break the neck, that would be what? That would be equal. Okay. Okay, Rabbi Avi. Esive, 2 lines from the bottom on Nun Amid Beis, 2 lines from the bottom. Esive. So again, what does Rav say? If you break a stick, it's like avodah lifnim, and therefore you be chayiv. Esive. So safais lo tsoya. Rashi says you feed the tsoya to the avodah zarah, or you dip tsoya to the avodah zarah. Nisech lefaneha ovet shel meraglayim. You pour in front of it urine. So not nishkan geshmak azach. Chayiv. You'll be chayiv for what? For being over the avodah zarah. Guys, even if this is not the norm, even if it's not normal to go ahead and serve it with soya or of it, you be chayiv, meaning it's going to fit in the second category that this is an avodah lifnim, right? It's going to fit in that second category. The hatam was great. It's going to fit in that second category. Since it's an avodah lifnim, you can be chayiv for avodah zarah. Now, bishleima of it shamei miraglayim ikas rika mishtaberes. You can be chayiv. Why? Because what? It's a zrika mishtaberes. Elat soya mais mika mishtaberes. The half amina is you're throwing a piece of soya. If it's one piece, why should you be chayiv? On that, my answer is we're speaking bit soya lacha. It's speaking what the soya is lach, and therefore it goes into pieces, and you be chayiv isrika. So again, Rav's chiddush fellas, if you you have an avodah Zorah, you're serving it in, you're breaking a stick. Breaking a stick, Rav is mechadesh, is similar to what? To shechting, because you're breaking the neck, right? You be chayiv, because to be chayiv avodah Zorah, it's either kedarka or one of the avodas inside. Okay. The Gemara now is going to suggest that the Amoira Rav is being nichlis into a machlekes tanoim, where the din of what of breaking a neck is breaking a stick is like what, like shchita. Leimi ketanoi, shachar loy chagav. You're shechting a what, a grasshopper. Now we all know that you don't have to shecht a grasshopper, right? You don't have to shecht a grasshopper. You just, I guess, if you're a Yemenite, right? You just pop it in your mouth, right? But it has to be dead. It has to be dead, because if it's alive, it's shakich tzakshenu. I remember there was craziness, people swallowing live goldfish. And there was a shayla, can you do it? It's a kosher goldfish. And it says, it's us al shakich tzakshenu. You have to wait till it's dead. Yeah, I'm serious. You remember that craziness, people swallowing a live goldfish? You have to be a 60s or 70 person. You have to. Okay, anyway. So you're shechting the chagav. Now, guys, the hafmin is the following. Since it's not shayich shchita begavav, the chagav, it's the same as breaking a stick. In other words, the act of shchita here is being done to something that does need shchita. That's similar to breaking a stick, which is something that is not broken. But again, that's the similarity. So Rabbi Yehuda mechayev, you be chayev for avodah Zorah, and the chachamim paitrim. My labba kanifli. The masavar Rabbi Yehuda is of the opinion. Amin and Kain zvicha will say that what, that it's Kain zvicha lifnim, and therefore you're doing an act lifnim. Umasavar kipata loy amin and Kain zvicha ela Kain pinim. Right? We only says no. We don't say Kain zvicha, but we need Kain pinim, and it's not one, and it's not that. Okay. So in other words, so it's machlokes tanoim. Says we're light. Kuliyama loy amin and Kain zvicha. Everyone says that what? That's not zvicha. So even Rabbi Yehuda would say yipata, guys. Kuliyama amin kain zvicha, ela kain panim beinin. So l'chayra. So in other words, if you break a stick, even Rabbi Yehuda would hold what yipata. Rashi, loy the kuliyama loy amin kain zvicha uba makal I feel Rabbi Yehuda pata. By makal, even Rabbi Yehuda would say yipata for lesser the Rav, and he doesn't hold like Rav. The kain why the kain panim beinin. Midi the daimel zricha going chaya va'oif ubehema. I feel in royal carbon, even then royal carbon, but you need an act of zricha. Breaking a stick is a reach. Breaking a stick is a reach to tell me that it's equals zricha. It's not, and therefore even Rabbi Yehuda will hold your pata. So this machloikas tanoim, Rav would not come out according to anyone. This no one. Each Rav would not come out according to anyone, because Rav says breaking a stick you are chayiv. It's like kain panim, and we're saying no, it's not. It's not right. So what's the machlokes over here? V'shayni chagav, hoil b'tzavaroi doimel tzava behema, right? Since its tzavar, its neck, is elongated like that of a behema, it's much closer to zvicha than breaking a stick, and therefore yechayev, because this is kain penim. This is mamish kain zvicha. So therefore, that's the difference. So again, you wanted to say that Rav's din is machlokes tanoim. We're answering that no. Everyone would hold breaking a stick what would be potter. Over here, the reason by chagav, guys, we thought chagav is like breaking a stick because it's not shayach svicha by what? By a grasshopper. And the answer is shechting a grasshopper is a lot closer to zvicha than breaking a stick. And therefore it's not doima. Why? Because since it has a neck, which is the normal place you go ahead and shecht, and therefore it's mamish like zvicha, and therefore yechayev. Masha'en came breaking a stick is not in Yibi Pata. So therefore, you want to say it's machlokes tanoim, it's coming out worse. Rav doesn't come out according to anybody, and he disagrees. Rav Nachman, Amar Rabba, Ravua, Amar Rav. New, similar din, but a new din. Avoidis kechavim she'oiv din oisa b'makal. Good. You serve it b'makal, you shake it. Again, you go ahead, you shake the stick in front of Avodah Zorah. That's the way you serve it. Shiver makal b'foneha. Chayiv, you be chayiv, v'neseres. That's l'chayra like Rav. In other words, what is this adding that Rav didn't say? Right? What's it add? What's in other words, before it was Rav Yehuda in the name of Rav. Now it's Rav Nachman and Rav Avu in the name of Rav. So they're both Rav. Breaking a stick is chayiv. We're adding on, and the stick is what? Is aser. It's aser bahana. Zorek makal lefaneha. Now, what did Rav say in the first statement? It's potter, right? Because it's not avoid the lefnim. Over here, Zorek makal lefaneha is chayiv. Ve'inu neseres. Okay, guys, so we have to, before we go weiter, we have a question. Rabbi Yehuda name of Rav said if you throw a stick in front of the Avodah Zorah, that's normally shaken, you putter, because it doesn't fit the criteria. It's not the normal way you serve, and there is no comparison, because since it's not a Zrika Mishtaberes, it's one whole piece, you putter. Now you're telling me if you throw it, you're chayiv. But it's not asa. Why would you be chayiv? Says Rashi, because it's the avodah bekach. It's the first thing, guys. It's not because about it's a kain zrika. It's avodah bekach. Now, therefore, why enu neseres? That's the problem, right? You hear this? What's the answer? In order for something to be asa, als takruvas avodah zara, it has to be like a avodah kain panim. This is Rab's Kiddush. And since throwing a stick is not avodah kain panim, it itself does not become asa like a takruvas avodah zara. So the fact that you're chayiv avodah zara is because this is the way you serve the avodah zara, by throwing it. The fact that it's not kain panim, memela, it's going to be what? It's going to be mutter. This is a big yesod. This is Rav's Kiddush. Let's see Rashi, just to substantiate what I just told you. Shiva makol lefanel chayiv neseres hamakol bein shavodasa b'shvira bein adas b'shvira, whether you serve it by breaking or not serve it by breaking. Have you avoid lis chayiv? Why? Because it's either way. It's the normal way to serve it, or it's similar to zvicha. V'havi takruvis le'asar kidamen kein zvichahu. It's like zvicha. However, zarek machal b'fanel chayiv, which is contradictory to what Rav Yehuda reported in the name of Rav, ukigoin sha'avaydasa b'srikas makal me'echa yavdu. That's the pasuk. That's the avodah. Geshmak. That's the avodah. Why einu neseres? Says Rashi, hamakal. The loy havi takru. Underline this, guys. The loy havi takruvis elamidi dekain panim. In order to be takruvis, to be asa b'hana, it has to be an avodah kain panim, and this is not, because since it's not a zrika mishtaberes, it doesn't exist in the Beis Hamikdash, and the only reason it's asa is because of avodah sabakach. But as takruvis, it has to be kain panim. That's Rav's Kiddush. Geshmak. Back in the Gemara. Amalei Rav Rav Nachman. Maishna shiver dehavile kain zvicha, and that's why you're chayiv v'neseres. Zarek nami havile kain zrika. We know the answer already. Amalei b'inyan zrika mishtaberes v'leka. It's one solid piece. Ella says Rava to Rav Nachman. Me'ata avnei beis markulis b'maye yasru. Guys, you have your markulis. By the way, Lenny put out his blog today. It was fascinating. There is in England, there is a site called Stonehenge. It has two rocks and one big one going across. Markulis, guys, is two and one on top. Do you ever see the picture of it? You ever see the picture of Stonehenge? It's two. They don't know how old it is, but it's mamish avodah zarah. Mamish. I found it. You think about it, guys. Google it. You'll get a chance. Google the picture of Stonehenge. You'll see two and one going across. It's mamish. It's the avodah zarah of Markulis. Fascinating. Anyway.
The Taka Avodah Zorah? Do they know?
I don't know. They don't know anything about it. But again, we don't know. But I'm saying you want to, in terms of imaging, right? In terms of imaging, it's amazing. It's amazing. They say it's thousands of years old. They I don't know how would they age it. I don't know what I'm saying. But l'chalapachas. Over here, you have, so we want to know the difference. But subishle meshever, which is kain zvicha, I understand. So Zorik Makal also, and answering no, Zorik Makal is not Zrika because it's one piece rather than piecemeal. Elameata. Avnei Beis Markulis b'mayi yasru. Guys, here, you have the Avodah Zorah of Markulis. You're throwing rocks at it. Yeah? That's l'chayre takruvus avodah zarah. Why did Rav say, in order to be usher al takruvus avodah zarah, it has to be like an avodah kain pinim, but it's not. It's one piece, guys. You say this to kasha. You take markulis, you take stones, you throw it, right, and you're telling me it's asa. Not only is it asa, there's no bittel. Why is there no bittel? Because it's takruvus avodah zarah. Rav, you say takruvus avodah zarah has to be similar to the avodah done in the Beis Hamikdash. What's this similar to? It's not burning, it's not shechting, it's not throwing, because it's one piece. So why is it asa? That's what Rava is Rav Nachman. Guys, geschmack. You say this to get kasha. So Amalei, so Rav Nachman told Rava, Afla didi kashali. I thought I had this kasha. It bothered me too. V'sha'alti li Rabbi Baravua, ayes Rabbi Baravua, for Rabbi Baravua l'chia barav, v'chia barav l'rav, v'amalei, nase kemigdal abayis kechavim. You know why it's asa, guys? Not as takruvis. It's asa as avodah zarah itself. Pirish. When you have the initial markulis there, the three, what would you do? You wouldn't find just the three there. You'd find mounds and mounds and mounds of what? Of stones. Each time the stone gets there, it adds to the avodah zarah. So it's asa, not mishum takroivis. It's asa because avodah zarah itself. Nafkamina guys would be lenient bittel. It would be shaykh bittel. If it's takruvis, it's not shaykh bittel. If it's avodah zarah, it's shaykh bittel. So guys, it makes beautiful, makes sense, right? You picture the rock, you're throwing it on. So each time you're adding on, it's shining on avodah zarah. That's why it's asa. Fred the Gemara. We're going to see a machloikas. We had this machloikas. We'll see it weiter, right? It's a Mishnah. Avodah zarah, it's asa immediately. You notice as soon as he makes it, it's asa. Like the mandiyama that you have to go ahead. Why machloikas Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Kiva? The mandiyama ad she to oved tishteri the halei polcha. Why is it asa? You didn't serve it, guys. You didn't serve it, right? You didn't serve it. Good. You're throwing it on. Why is it asa? Good, you add it to the avodah zarah, but the mandiyama says it's not asa until you serve it, and you didn't. So amalei. So Rav Nachman told Rava, Kol achas v'achas nasa avodas kechavim v'takruvus chaveirasa. Each one becomes what? An avodah zarah, and takroivis to the next one. Now, it's not totally takroivis because it's not kain pnim, but it's subsidiary to the one before. Let's see Rashi. V'takroivis chaveirasa le'inyan shetei chaveirasa ne'evedes mimena. In order to say that the one before it was served because of it. And its friend makes it asa avodah zarah. So you have rak A, B, and C. Rak A is taken at asa, but when you throw rak B makes rak A served. And when you throw rak C, it makes rak B served, right? Each one is serving the next. V'niteres bebittel. And since it's an avodah zarah and not in takruvis, it's shaykh bittel. Avol takruvis lemahave zivchei mesim, but that it should be zivchei mesim that you can't be mevatel shem eten l'omis loy have. The ke'ein pe'im beninin, because it be said beautifully, it has to be an avodah b'fnim. Umakol lo yisaved avodas kechavim b'shari legamri. And a makol, you don't serve avodah zarah at all with it because it's not ke'ein pe'im, and therefore it's mutter. So guys, says. We have a hybrid takroivis over here, guys. What's the hybrid takroivis over here? It itself is serving avodah zarah, but it won't get the shame of takroivis to be asa behana le'inyan bittul that you couldn't be mevatel it. So again, A, B, and C. A is now the avodah zarah. B is the takroivis of A. But again, only the that it makes A now an avodah zarah that's asa because it was served. C serves B. B now comes the avodah zarah of C, and C is the takroivis of, and so on and so forth. But again, not takroivis fully, because as Rav said, in order to be takroivis fully, you have to be an avodah kain pnim. It has to be zvicha k'tiras, and you don't have that. But this answers the question of why it would be asa. Why be us? Okay, now Nimsa guys, the last one should be mutter because you didn't have one that served it. C should be mutter because why? Because you didn't have D. Says the Gemara. Ihachi basraisa mia tishteri. So Rava says to Rav Nachman, the last one should be mutter. Amalei, Rav Nachman told Rava, Yadislei zil shakle. If you know it, go take it. You don't know where it is. You don't know where it is. Rav Ashi Amar, Kol achas v'achas nase takroivis la'atzmoi v'takroivis chaveirasa. Each one has in it, right? Each one has in it both. Each one has in it in both. Says Rashi, takroivis la'atzma, shari ein la avoida acheres, elisrika. There's only one game in town. You throw it. Ubisvikasa nasas avoidis kechavim v'ne'avedes. Guys, each one in itself has both capacities. It is Avodah Zorah and Takroivis. Why is that? Because the act of serving the Avodah Zorah is throwing. It being added onto the existing Avodah Zorah makes it an Avodah Zorah. So Rav Ashi is learning at Lumdis. He's saying in each rack, we have two components. We have the Avodah Zarah component because it's attaching itself to an existing Avodah Zarah. And we have the Takroivis component because the whole act of doing it is throwing it. Memela, the last one also is going to be Asa because it served itself. Guys, you hear? The only way Makulis is Asa is Rika. So when you have the existing, in other words, the first three that you set up is an Avodah Zarah. That's it. You didn't throw anything, you put it there, that's it. Azayah does. When you throw A, right? A now is Avodah Zarah because it's attached to the three, but it's also Takroivis Avodah Zarah because it served itself, because you threw it. So when Mele is very geschmack, in our case, A, B, and C is going to be us. So you don't need D to answer it like we thought. In itself, said Rav Ashi is us. Beautiful, beautiful on this. But again, in terms of takroivis mamish to be asa bahana, to the extent that there's no bittel, it's not. Why? Because what's the side? Because takroivis has to be ke'ein penim. Takroivis has to be similar to what? To something done in the Beis HaMikdash, and it's not. Tanan. We're going to see it now. I'm going to see in the Mishnah on the Amid base. Right. Tanan. We're going to see on the Mishnah on Amid base. Matzah beroisha. You have makulis, and you find on its head ksus, clothing, mois, money, or kalim. I was thinking of, you have in your house, you have the treadmill with a bicycle, and you have the clothing on it. It's drawing on it, right? So you have this makulis, and you have hanging on there. You have a zekel. You have this thing hanging, that thing hanging. Harielim mutarim. These things are mutar. They're not noi. They're not considered. Noita Avodah Zarah, nothing. Parchili anavim, v'atorish shel shvalim. However, clusters of grapes and wreaths of grain, right? V'yenois and wine, shmonim, oils, with salsais and flour. V'chol davar shekayotze karv gam mizbeach, and other things that lot is karv gam mizbeach. Asa, it's going to be asa. Okay, so again, the first two things, ksus, kalim. Again, we'll see in the Gemara on the Amid base. But these things are not considered. They're not linoi. If it would be noi, it would be asr. They're not for anything. You know why they're asa? As takroivis avodah zarah, because yayin is nisuch, oil is nisuch, and menachos, right? You find them menachos, but flour by menachos. So all of these have shaykhis kain panim, and therefore they're going to be takroivis, and not only takroivis, they'll be asa bahana. The ikka kain srika, mishtaberes, right? So ikka kain panim, you have kain panim. That's by the flour, and also you have kain zika mishtaberes, like that. You're going to go ahead and throw them, and what it's going to be broken up in pieces. Ela parchile anavim matar shel shvalim. You told me parchile anavim and atar shvalim are asa loy kain panimika, v'loy kain zrika mishtaberes. You have neither. You don't have an avodah and you don't have a zrika. Even if you throw it, if you throw it, it's one piece. And we don't find an avoid in these things. Amarava, Amaula, Kigoin Shebatzno Mitchil Lakach. You know what we're speaking about? when you cut it. When you cut it off the stem, you cut it for the purpose of this Avodah Zorah. Cutting is like what? Shvias Hamako. It's like what? So in other words, it's Kein Pnim. It's like what? It's like Kein Zricha. How do you know if you go ahead and you say veach, you shecht an animal for Avodah Zorah, which is normally mamish classic chiyuv? If it's the balmum, how do you know you're potter? Shenemar saveach lelekim yacharam, saveach lelehim yacharam. Anyone lelehim, anyone saveach to a getchka yacharam will be doomed, be killed. Bilti lashem levadai. Only one you can go ahead and shechtu is a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Like Asr Torah, Elokein Pnim. The Torah asks only a carbon that you can bring inside. So a balmum, which is not Kein Pnim because you can't, it's not acceptable inside, you'll be potter. Havi by Rava, Rava asked the kasha, b'mai. He's wondering aloud. What kind are we speaking about? Ilema b'dukin sheba ayin. If it's speaking dukin sheba ayin. If you guys were very diligent and doing Masechta, Gittin, Sunday, Avad of Tisha B'Av, you would know that Bar Kamsa put a Dukin Sheba Ayin, right? He put in, which for us is a mum, for them is not a mum. So this is of Tisha B'Av fame, okay? Dukin Sheba Ayin. Hashta, so L'bnei Noya Chasya L'Gavaya, a guy on his bama could bring this as a carbon. You're going to tell me that what? It would not be acceptable for Avodah Zorah? So of course it would. So of course you'd be mechayev. If that's the moment speaking about a cataract that you put inside, the male, of course you're going to be chayev. Ella must be speaking b'mechusarever. It must be an animal that's missing a limb. How do you know mechusa eva is asel to ben noyach? Shneimar. Umikol achai, mikol basa, shnayim mikol. So this is when by the Teva, Noach was told from each you should bring in 2 by 2. Hacha haba. Now it says mikol achai. So hevi behema shechayin rashi evarim shelah. So in other words, the word mikol achai, bring in an animal that is totally intact, meaning therefore mechusar eva would be not intact. Gemara, how could you tell me what? That Mikol Achai is to teach me that an animal has to be not Mechusarever, it has to be B'Shleimus to be a carbon. I need us to tell me that what? That a treifa can't be a carbon, because a treifa can't live. It says the Gemara Milchayis Zera Nafka. Now we learn after the word Milchayis Zera. We don't need it again, the full pasuk. Gami ofer shemayim shiva shiva zachar nekeva l'chayos zera al pnei kol aretz. So when it says l'chayos zera, so I need an animal that's capable of procreation. So I have kol chay, not one that's able to give life. Mikol chay shechayin rashe evarim shalem, that they have what? They have their complete. They have they're b'shleimus. So therefore, I have a pasuk for treifa l'chayos zera mikol chay for that. So we have a kasha, right? We have a teretz. Now, but trefa what are you going to say? If it's so, in other words, what's your problem then? Mikol chai l'chayr should be okay, right? Amakra itoch. Okay, so in other words, loitem the amar that a trefa is able to go ahead and procreate. So therefore, I don't need l'chayei zera to teach me that, because I know it's going to have children, right? Therefore, I need mikol achai to be ma'ayed a trefa. So how can I use it for Rasha Evarim? Again, Chaye mikol achai teaches me one that's b'shleimus. Let's call it b'shleimus. For the Gemara, I need it for trefa, and for the Gemara, I have another pasuk for trefa. For the Gemara, that other pasuk for treifa is only predicated upon that what? That a treifa can't give birth. But Ledman Hashem, it could give birth, right? I don't need that pasuk for treifa. I need this pasuk to go ahead and be made a treifa. Because it's not speaking about giving birth, it's speaking about alive, and a treifa is not going to live. Good. So if I need this pasuk for treifa, I don't have an extra to teach me what? The shleimus. I don't have to teach you shleimus. Again, that's the Gemara's kasha. Okay. That is very good. I need treifa l'chayis zara, and I have chai to teach me shleimus. And therefore I don't need chaya zera to teach me treifa. I need chai to be maya treifa. How do I know shleimus from? Michael Mema. Amakra itoch. What does the pasuk say? The pasuk says, "Gami oifa shemayim mikol chayim mikol basa shnayim tavi elateva lahachayos itoch, to live itoch with you." So itoch means the animals are going to be similar to you. The animals are going to be similar to you, Noach. So amakra itoch b'doim lecha. So just like you, Noach, are not a treifa, so too the animals are not a treifa. And in Mela, I don't need chai to teach me, called chai to teach me treifa. I can use it for shleimus. That's your cheshbon. Fred Gemara, v'dilma Noach gufa treifa. If this sounds familiar, we had it earlier, guys. Daf hey. V'dilma Noach gufa treifa have. Says more tamim kasiv. Tamim means complete. Says more dilma tamim b'drachav in his ways. Tzadik siv. Says ksiv beit dilma tamim b'drachav v'tzadik b'maisav. Okay, so l'chayra, maybe he's a treifa, and therefore maybe the animal's a treifa. Says the Gemara, loy matzas amid. You can't say that he was a treifa. The matzas amid noach gufa treifa have. Disak noach treifa have. Amalech rachmana. Ikavasach, like you noach. I'll bring into the teva shleimim like I'll. Guys, listen to this. Guys, eye contact. If you're going to tell me noach's a treifa, and so he says mikol achai el chai zeri itoch. So bring into the teifa all animals that are similar to you. So Hashem is saving the world, and He's saying only bring treifas in, don't bring shleimus in. It doesn't. I find Nishan. It doesn't begin in Svara. It can't be that he was a treifa, right? Good, you couldn't learn from B'tamim, you couldn't learn from Drochav, you couldn't learn from. But bottom line is, it doesn't make any sense that the only animals you're going to bring on are treifas. That doesn't make any sense. It says Mahashta nafik me'itach. Now that you learn out that what? That an animal that's similar to Noach to live, that l'chayis zera lamali. Why do I need the pasuk l'chayis zera? Once we've ascertained that Noach was healthy and well, right? I know l'chayis zera. So it says imi ita chavamin l'tzavsa ba'alma. That what? Maybe he just needs company. V'afilu zakein an altichka. V'afilu saris, even nebich, one that can it sign that the animal has to be able to hub kinder. Okay, so very good, nice, beautiful Gemara, guys. Very, very nice Gemara, right? Very nice Gemara. Okay, Amar Rabbi Laza. Now, the next piece of Gemara is what's going to happen is you're going to bring in one pasuk, and we're going to digress totally. We're going to digress to the parsha of Shchutei Chutz. The parsha of Shchutei Chutz, I didn't put on the screen. I was busy with stuff, but it's in Vayikra. It's in Vayikra. It's in Vayikra Yud Zayin. So here's the parsha. Vayikra Yud Zayin. Pasuk Aleph. Vayom Hashem al Moshe leimar. Daber al Aaron vel Bono vel Kol bnei Yisrael mat aleim zeh adav shir sen leimar. Ish yishim beis Yisrael sheyishchat Zorah kesav vayez b'machne. Oya sheyishchat michutz l'machne. Vel Pesach al Moed le'aviu. In other words, it's an animal you should bring the Pesach al Moed, and you don't. Lahakir korban Hashem lifnei Mishkan Hashem. Dam yichashav lishahu, it's considered blood for this guy. Dam shafach, he's a murderer. V'nichvas leishahu mikarev amay. This is called shchutei chutz, we chayav kares. This is called guys shchutei chutz, we chayav kares. L'man asheyaviu b'nei Yisrael sevchayim asherim zoyfim al pnei asadeh. Right, in order, this pasuk is important. They all are, but this for us. Asheyaviu b'nei Yisrael sevchayim asherim zoyfim al pnei asadeh. Ve'ivim l'Hashem al pesach al mayed al akayin v'zavchu sevchay shlomim l'Hashem ayson. V'zarka koyin es adam al mizbeach Hashem pesach al mayed pikter achelav ve'echnichayev teimurim. Pasuk Zayin la'yisbechu oid es sevchayim asirim. No longer will they bring their kabbanis lasirim, literally demons. Stuff like this are Hashem zoynim acharayim. Chukas oilam tiyeh zoyis l'chem l'daraysam. This should be what a yor forever, a gazette, an Abigail gazette, Kenny. Das heißt dann eben Gesetz, right? Okay, so now, but the Gemara is going to bring in this pasuk v'yizbechu oid esav chayim asirim. The Gemara is going to say, learn it in from that. And the Gemara is going to say, I need it for shchutei chutz. So let's see it inside. Amar Balazim, minayin l'shoichet behemel l'markula shuchayev. Now, what's he really asking? How do you know if you serve with a kain avodah pnim that you chayiv even though it's like kedarkoi? Markulis, you throw stones at. You don't bring karbanis to it. So how do you know if you bring a carbon that you chayiv? Shnemar v'yizbechu oid esav chayim l'seirim. Don't bring any more to avodah Zorah. Now, im eina inyan l'kedarka. If it's normal to serve through shechting karbanis, I don't need that for. Why? So that teaches me kedarka. Then to know English like kedarka, go ahead and use it what for shaloi kedarka. Yitzi, I'm saying share, believe it or not. It's amazing. How's the shaykh? I say share in the afternoon, and he calls in the afternoon. He doesn't know I'm saying share in the morning. He doesn't know, but he calls in the morning. It's Murphy's Law. Share, Yitzi. Okay, guys, geschmack. Okay, guys, listen. Fred Gemara Kasha. We know there's two ways to be chayiv misa skila, right? One kedarka and one avodah pinim. Says that your makulis is rocks. You shecht an animal. How do you know? And he brings the pasuk of what? Now, I don't need that for kedarka. I have another pasuk of echa of the agoyim. Good. So if I don't need it for that, I need it what for? I need it for this. Okay, guys, here's Gemara's kasha. It's going to be a long-winded kasha. Let me tell it to you outside. I would say you're in the midbar. You didn't set up the migdash yet. You're bringing karbanis on the bama. You have a bama, you have a backyard barbecue. You're going ahead and shechting oilis and shechting shlamim to Hashem. Very good. The mishkan is set up. No longer can you do that. That would be shchutei chutz. So what happens now? I'm magdish an animal now when the migdash is it's in extent, it's there, and I shecht it. I'm chayav kares. When was I magdish it? After the isser of bamis. What about the following? Before the Mishkan was built, I went ahead, I took an animal, I was magdish it. And at this time, I could bring it. But Shain, I didn't bring it yet. And now the Mishkan's built. Are you chayiv for shchutei chutz on that or not? I'm going to need the pasuk for that. Since I'm going to need the pasuk for that, the Gemara is going to ask, I can't use it to teach me that what, if you serve makulis with what? That's going to be Gemara's kasha. The Gemara is going to answer, I learned that two things from two pesukim. Okay? Got it? It's going to be a little long-winded, but you have the Gemara already. So if you want to leave, you could leave, right? Yeah, it's finished. So says the Gemara. You're telling me it's coming to teach me that? I need it for something else. I'm a base. When you magdish your animal, that's when the bamas were asa. Fikrivim b'shas abamis. Shari oinsin omar shenemar vel pesach oil loyaviu. That's right, and you get to get karis. Oinu shamanu as haraminayin tamaloimer pentala oilesecha. Less you bring your oilis. Pen is the lashon of lav. Uchrav oven omar Rabbi loy. The omar Rav oven omar Rabbi loy. It should be kamlachim shenemar. Hishamer upen va'al. We had this many times. Enu ela b'lei saseh. So now I know what. Okay, so now I know it's speaking about karbanis that you were magdish with when already was asa. Now, the pasuk speaking about kachim that you were magdish when they were permitted to be brought in the backyard. However, you were makriv with them b'shas abamis. Shnemar l'man asher yavi b'nei Yisrael esevchayim. In order they should bring this vachim, Hashem zoifim that they had been zoifim. She'taitul chakfar al pnei asada. Now these animals that you were mater al pnei asada, how do I know to include them? Melamit shekol zabech beboma b'shas isa aboma ismalo kosav kilu zabech al pnei asada. Ve'ivim Hashem. Ve'ivim Hashem zu mitzvah asay. It's mitzvah asay to bring it. Here it is. Okay, so I need the pasuk that it's a lav. That even though when I was magdish it was mutter, I need this pasuk to teach me now it's asa. So how could I use it for what? To teach me that you're being an animal to makulis is asa. I need it for this. Continues the brisa. In other words, you would not be chayiv shchutei chutz for an animal that you were magdish beforehand. What's the bottom line? What's the kasha, guys? How could I use to teach me that what my coolest you're being a carbon is asa? I needed to teach me that what it's asa that an animal you were magdish b'shas heter abamis and you bought shalei b'sheter abamis. On that, Rava says krei bei v'lo yisbechu ukrei bei v'lo oid. Again, why does the pasuk say? The pasuk says, guys. So here's what I'm going to darshan like this, guys. Watch. Lo yisbechu. The loy is going on the yisbechu, and the loy oid, and the loy is going on the oid. So you have two limudim, right? You have two limudim. So therefore, since I have two limudim, one is to teach me shas heter abamis, and one is to teach me that if you're being tamakulis. Look at Rashi. Krei bei v'lo yisbechu ukrei bei v'lo yoid. V'hay oid lo yitzterich. Right? I don't need that lo oid. So shadi ashara atravayu. I'll put the lav, the ashara of loy on both. V'tichoshev trei lavim, and I'll consider them two lavim. One, guys, one for the lav of what? Of bringing shas heter abamis on one that once it's aser, and another one that even though it's shaloi kitarka, you would be chayiv. Good? Next, a healthy dot. Matzah b'roishay, this is what we said before, right? You threw it. Matzah b'roishay. Now, as a hakdama, I saw this art school board, a very nice hakdama. One, avodah zarah atzma. You serve the avodah zarah in the normal way it's supposed to be served. Good? Two, takroivus avodah zarah. You serve it, right? And according to Rav, only came pinim, right? And that'd be takroivus avodah zarah. It's the most chomer thing because avodah zarah is shaykh bittel, but takroivus is not shaykh bittel. Noi has the din of avodah zarah itself. It's shaykh bittel. So you know it's something that's not takroivus, but it's noi. You have something called mishamshi avodah zarah. Shimash avodah zarah is also asa. And finally, you have what? You have things that you're magdish to avodah zarah, which we say ain't hegdish. We had this earlier, guys. Remember you had Cleo Aphrodites? You had the bathhouse of Aphrodites you had the avodah zarah, and you had the bathhouse, and you could use the bathhouse because you can't be magdish a bathhouse to Aphrodites, right? So just be aware there's something called linoi and takroivis. Says them, matzah b'roishay mois ksus oikelim harelim mutarim. As we said, the Gemara is going to ask, but pashtus it's not asa. But if it's noi, it should be asa. Pachili anov matar shel shpalim v'yein shmanim salsais v'chol dov shchiyatzim and karol gam mizbeach asa. That's it. Minani mili amar Rabbi Yosef amar Raisha kosav echadoimer v'tiris shikutzei sehem v'eskuleihem. And you'll see their shikatzim, they're disgusting things. Eskuleihem, they're getchkis. Now, what does it say? Getchkis made of what? Eitz, what wood, even stone, kesef, silver, v'zav. Kesef, v'zav being precious metals, and eitz of even being mundane. Asher imohem. So v'tiru shikutzeihem v'eskuleihem kesef asher imohem. Because of echad oimer, another pasuk says, le'sachmoid, do not desire, kesef v'zav aleihem. So you have, guys, by imohem, it says what? Besides kesef v'zav, it says eitz v'even. By aleihem, it only says what? Kesef v'zav. It does not say what? It doesn't say eitz v'even, right? The second pasuk, state no kesef v'zav, and it says aleihem, on them. Masha'en came by imohem, with them, it says all four. HaKetzad, imohem dum yuda aleihem. With them, you need similar to aleihem. Ma aleihem, dava shel noi, aser, such as kesef v'zav, she'ena shel noi mutter. But if it's, again, if you have something that's not noi on them, it's going to be mutter. Again, the pasuk says le'sachmoid kesef v'zav aleihem. So what's on them is similar to kesef v'zav. Notice it does not say even, it does not say eitz. I aleihem. So where it says imohem with them, similar to aleihem. Just like aleihem, lenoi, it has to be something lenoi, so to imohem has to be something lenoi, and that would go ahead and take care of mois, money, right? That would take care of money, and ksus, and kalim. We'd be able to go ahead and get rid of that. So af imohem derish alnoi also. Ushein shalnoi muta. Ve'ema aleihem dum yedi imohem. Let's say what's on them is similar to with them. Ma imohem kol mashe imohem. Even eitz ve'even. Af aleihem, so to on all of them kol shaleihem. So in other words, let's go the other way. Maybe imohem, just like imohem is everything, so to aleihem is everything. Why do you opt for imohem to go ahead and be mamayah from aleihem and take out the aleihem cannot be something l'noi? Go the opposite way, that anything. It says Morim Kain lo yamar aleihem. They don't say aleihem. Don't say aleihem at all. In other words, if you need aleihem similar to imahem, then aleihem is worthless because it's including everything. El aleihem must be only kesef v'zav and not eitz ve'even. Fred the Gemara now. You said three things: mois, ksus, and kalim. Mois devishal noihu. Yeah, think about it. You have a nice Morgan dollar, a nice piece of silver, a nice gold coin. You're telling me mois is not linoi? It's very much linoi, right? Don't they make cufflinks out of coins? They do, right? I've seen that, right? So in the it's linoi. So Amar B'Yamanai b'kis kasha v'talei b'tzavarai. It's not speaking where you see the coin. It's in a tash. It's in a tash. It's in a wallet. It's in some type of therefore you can't see it. So it's just suspended there in a little packet. That's the word I want. Packet. It's a packet standing in the middle. Is not l'noi. Ksus davashal nahu. So you get a nice Barney suit, a nice Shana suit. You have Avodah Zorah. You have a chayra, like a little haberdashery. L&G. Hesh used to go to B&L. What was that guy in the East Side? B&G. You remember the guy? I got Groshire.
LBC was it?
LBC. Yeah, have Groshire. LBC.
Chatham.
Right? Yeah,
if you love Groshire, you'll love LBC.
Now LBC, you can't say it because it's woke. Anyway,
he used to sell you a Givenchy.
A Givenchy. A
Givenchy, he would sell you.
Givenchy, right? That's great. Not a Givenchy, a Givenchy. Great. Ari, why do you look like you're sitting on a camel? Does it look like Ari's sitting on a camel? Look at me, he's sitting there. Okay, anyway. So, l'chayra, if it's a nice Shana suit, it's also a nice. Some of the Rabbi Yanai, b'ksus mekupeles u'menechas le'aroshai. You folded the laundry, you put it on top of the head. It's not speaking where he's wearing it. It's speaking like it's like the laundry in the basket. It's sticking on top of his head, so it's not l'noi. It says, my kli davar shel noihu. A kli is a davar shel noi. Rav Papa says, Rav Papa, the sachifas le mashkilta aresha. You took the kli and you dumped it on top of his head. He's wearing a basket on top of his head. That's not l'noi. Rav Asi bar Chia, kol shulifnim min hakilkolin. Anything that is inside the kilkolin. Rashi says kilkolin is a curtain. Rashi says kilkolin is a curtain. That anything that you find inside the curtain, right? Afilu mayim melach. Even mayim melach would be what? Would be asur. Anything you find inside that curtain that's closer to Avodah Zorah, even mayim melach. Rashi says the loyla noihu kivin the kein pnim ninu havi takruvis. Since both water is a libation and melach is put on every single carbon, so the answer it's within the inside. It will be asa al swat al takroivis. Chutzl kilkolin, if you find it outside the curtains, now it depends. Davar shel noi asa. If it's something that is lenoi, it will be asa. Sheina shel noi muta. But if it's not shel noi, what it would be, it would be muta. Rashi says, Chutzl kilkolin lav mishum takruvis isya. Since it's outside the confines of the animal of the getchka, it's not going to be takroivis, but it would be, depends upon whether it's noy or not. Hilkach shel noy asa did nafka me'asher imahem. Guys, even if it's outside the kilkolim, it's still considered imahem with them, not alehem. But since it's kesef azov, right? Then it's kesef, it's enough. So once it's lenoi, it would be what? It would be us. Amr Rabbi Yossi b'Chanina. Says Rabbi Yossi b'Chanina, naktina, and you have the following Messiah. Naktina, guys, always means Messiah. Ein kilkolin, leid l'pa'ar v'leil mekulis. The halacha of kilkolin does not apply to what? Markulis, it does not applying to pa'ar. It doesn't exist. Lemai, why nafkamina? Ilema dafilu pnim kichutz dami. You're going to tell me these two disgusting avodah zaras, that even what inside is like outside, that matters it, v'shari, hashta puri mefarin kamei, mayim u'melach leim akrivin lei. What are you going to tell me, fellas? Guys, look. You have inside, you want to say there's no halacha of what? Of kilkolim. So meaning, I could say that even inside is like outside. And meaning, unless it's lenoi, it's going to be mutta. Unless it's noi, it's going to be mutta. So memela, mayim melach on the inside by makulis and pa'or would be mutta. Why? Because the halacha of the fnim doesn't apply. Again, we said the halacha of kilkolin is mayim melach would be aser. Now you're telling me the kilkolin halacha doesn't apply, so I'll say mayim melach will be mutta. Says the Gemara, that doesn't make any sense. Why? Hashte pa'urei miparin kamei. They go ahead and they go to the bathroom in front of the Avodah Zorah. Mayim melach leim akrivin lei. Do you think they won't be mayim melach? Of course they would. So there's no svara to say it should be mutta. Ella must be the opposite. Afilu chutz kilif nimdami. Even the outside is like the inside. And therefore, mayim melech outside the curtain or anything else, even if it's not a davar shel noi, will be asa. So in other words, the kilkolin do not exist. Will asa, even if it's not lenoi, we go ahead and asa it. Right? Because I guess since it's a disgusting thing, the curtain doesn't make such a nafkamina. Let's see Rashi here. Afilu chutz kibifnim dami, mystery, even outside is like inside. This is the chumrah, right? Even something outside the curtain is like the inside. Umitzah, and it'll be asa. All the, again, a bizayin to throw rocks and certainly to go to the bathroom. So Mamela, since guys, this is disgusting the way they serve it, there's no concept of tznius, and therefore the kakolim don't exist. It's not shaykh, it's not mafsik, and therefore what? Even the outside will be like the inside, and even something that's not lenoi would be asa. I guess we'll stop over here.